Okay guys, hello, and we're back to yet another tutorial. We're going to help you get on board with CK12 today. So some of you may have used it in the past, but just in case you haven't, we're going to walk through getting started on this particular resource. So it'll help you with some texts, so simulation for an online reading. There's also some digital interactives, practices, which are similar to formative assessments like tests and quizzes. And then there's some other things that you can interact with online called clicks. And there's a few other things that we'll be able to do. But for today, we're going to work with some of the reading passages and a practice. So we want to get you on board and logged into our CK12 classroom first. All right, so you'll notice again, I'm logged in as our test student 8, right? And I'm going to go to my Google Classroom. So today I'm using this demo classroom, right? We're going in, we're going to go to the classwork tab. And again, you're going to look where your current unit is for your assignment. Now it's posted right here, but please get into the habit of opening the full assignment. So you're going to click on it and look for the directions. I apologize for the sound of the dog in the background. All right, so we have our title, graphing. We're looking how many points is it? When is it due? Is there any work that needs to be attached? Okay, and read the directions as usual, right? So we have our complete the daily check-in like we usually do. You've logged in and joined your virtual call, and now we've got our other directions. So where it says watch the videos linked below on how to join, you'll notice that part's missing because that's the video I'm making for you right now, but that will be posted later, okay? So beyond that, let's look and see. We're going to be looking at where it says click the sign in /CK12 link to join our CK12 classroom. But there's two different links here. One says graphing. That's the actual assignment. That's not the one we're going to click on, even though it looks like it's first. We want to go to this one that says sign in CK12 because we need to start as a new student in this grade level classroom. Okay, even if you joined in the past, you're still doing this part. Okay, because you need to join the 8th grade classroom. Or if you're watching this as a student in another grade level, then you're joining the classroom the teacher is giving you as a link. Okay, so we've got that. I'm going to go there in a minute, but let's read the rest of it too. It's important you always read all of the instructions. After we do those steps, then we're going to come back here and access the first assignment, which will be this one. The directions then tell you to read the passage and what it's on, right? For this particular instance, it's on graphing, that matches. And when we push these out into Google Classroom, the reading is always paired with a practice assessment. So I know you hear the word assessment and you tend to kind of think test, quiz. That's not what this is about. They do what's called adaptive practice. And this is a really cool thing for you and for the teachers as well, because it helps us to kind of gauge your comfort level with the material. So when you read the material and then you go on to the practice, it starts out the same for everybody, usually about the same. It may not be exactly the same question, but in the same level of material. As you get further in the first couple of questions, it can adapt to your level of understanding. And we'll be able to see how well you understand this based on how well you perform. So with these, the target goal is always the same. We want you to get 10 correct questions out of 10 questions. But that doesn't necessarily mean you'll get them in exactly 10 questions. So your score is 10 out of 10, period. You might get it in the first 10 questions because you're really comfortable with the material. That's great. If you need a little more practice, as they're calling it, and need some more questions beyond the regular first 10, there's nothing wrong with that. That's fine. So the target is to get a score of 10 correct. That's what we want you to get. All right. So if you have to go a little bit further on beyond that, that's fine. Don't worry about it. This is your chance to get a perfect score. Not a problem. It's an easy 10 points in the gradebook. That's what I want you to focus on. All right. So do the reading. If you're not getting those 10 points really fast, there's two options to help you. You'll see off on the side in a minute when I show it to you. There's an option to click on hints. And usually you can get up to 2 hints. And if you still can't get it, then the second option is to bounce back into the reading to see if you can get some extra help there. If you're doing that, I suggest, if you remember how to do it, open 2 tabs side by side and have the reading, I should say the way you're looking at it, have the reading next to the practice. And then you can do it as like an open notes quiz. And that'll help you do things a little better too. Right, so today we're focusing, like I said, on reading and practice. So let's do what we've got, all right? So we're going to click on how to join. Let's go there, sign in. All right, we're gonna ignore my little pop-ups. So I've got a variety of options here because this student account has not joined before. And it's really, really tempting to go type in all of these little spots, use your username or your Gmail or whatever. We're not doing that. We have the easy button. We have this really very, very easy option here. Sign in with Google. Almost every time you have that option, because you have a Gmail and a Google account through our school district, that's usually the way to go, right? Don't make it harder for yourself. Don't make it more confusing. Click on sign in with Google. Sometimes it will just say Google, depending on what the actual website is. So we're clicking there, all right? And we're going to continue. Now let's wait and see. We're going to ignore these pop-ups. Those should not show up on your screen. There's something else going on because I'm working from home. All right, so you'll see I have now joined. I'm in the demo class, just like I'm in the demo Google Classroom. So we're all good. Now, these are some older assignments that I had from my old demo class. So you're not going to worry about those because those are from a different year. But I've got joined. This is your dashboard in your CK12. So you're going to see a bunch of things. There's a dashboard. If you belonged in multiple classes across different subjects, you'd be able to see them here. There's a library of different topics to explore. You can look at different subject levels. You can quite literally explore, and there's a lot to look at here. Flexbooks 2.0, they're both here. You can see what other schools are using this if you really wanted to. There are study guides based on topics and subjects and all kinds of different things. So we'll be working with those as we get further into the subjects. The adaptive practices that I just mentioned, you can find there. Simulations, once we hit physics and chemistry, there's some really awesome things digging around in there. Clicks, which I have mentioned a little bit before. Play, learn, interact, and explore. So those are online simulations, and we'll be able to mess around with some of those too. All right, ignore this. So there's a lot to go on in here, and there's some math, there's science. You can look at a lot of things, right? So we have a lot to play with. But as tempting as it is to go and explore, which you'll have time to do, okay? You will have time to do. I want to pull you back, remember, because that was only the first part of the assignment. Join. We got that covered. Now it says access the first part of the assignment. We have to click on the actual assignment. So you did your joining. Now you need to actually get into the work. And again, here we go. All right. So it is loading my actual assignment. So what you're going to see here is something to read on graphing. Now, not all of it's reading. There's also going to be videos embedded and some questions. Now, the questions for this one, we are going to have as part of your homework. So don't stress when you see those today. You're going to be doing the reading, and then you'll do the practice, which you can see kind of like right here where it says continue practice below me. That's going to continue to drop down as we see. But what you see is that this is actually a piece of one of those Flexbooks that I actually showed you on a different screen. This tells you the grade level that that Flexbook is listed at. And this is the, like if you want to think of it as the chapter. This tells you what section in the chapter that that belongs to. And if you're looking here, you can kind of see this kind of ghosted out section. These are two tools that you can use while you're reading. There's a highlighting tool, and there's an annotation or an add notes section, all right? So here's how we can use those down here. And I've already added one highlight in advance. So we have a term, and I highlighted the definition to match it. When you make these changes on the text, they are only visible to you. So whatever highlights and annotations you would like to add to this page, to this reading passage, those are yours. These notes are for you. So however you would like to customize your notes, you make them work for you. So I've given myself my little highlight so I remember the definition that matches up with tornadoes, because it might show up in this practice, possibly. Right? But this is more on graphing. So I'm not so sure about the tornadoes bit, but we'll see. Later on in the text, they talk about using graphs in science, right? And it says graphs are very useful tools in science. They help you visualize a set of data. With a graph, you can actually see what all the numbers in a data table mean. And they talk about 3 commonly used types of graphs are. Now, maybe I feel like that one is worthy of highlighting. Let's try that. So I'm going to select the text, and automatically I have these options pop up. So I can choose whatever color I want to highlight it. And I can select it again and add a note if I want to. All right. So you would just select that and add a note. And you can type anything here. Graphs. Now I have got that all set. There's my note. Now I've got a little notation on the side that shows I made a note here. Okay. So you can do however you want all over this, whatever helps you to remember things. And you've got your segments to read, right? Answers, kind of like facts, more information, more examples. As you go further down, this is where I was talking about, there's some review questions. Questions 3 and 4 are going to show up on your homework later. But we've also got under resources a couple videos. And in some instances, the videos will be scattered throughout the reading passage. Always play the videos, okay? Pay attention to the videos when they embed them. So we're going to imagine that I have gotten through all of this and I'm pretty comfortable with the material. Then I feel like I can move on to my practice. And here's where it will show up in a side-by-side. But in this particular case, it's not going to stay this way. But if you would like to continue with this, then that's where you can pop this out after you open this, okay? So you can have the reading in one section and the practice on the other and do it like an open notes quiz, that's fine, all right? But this is the report you'll be able to look at later when you finish the practice. You'll be able to see how many you got correct total, what your best streak was, how many did you get in a row before you broke the streak and got one wrong? What was your best streak? How long did you spend on this in total? And this will show up in what looks like kind of like a speedometer on a car. You're going to see, were you like, just kind of getting used to it? Yeah, you're proficient, or wow, you're really, really rocking this. You're mastering it. Okay, so this is the report your teachers see, but they've actually made it visible to you now too. Right? It also shows when you last did your work. So spoiler alert, you're also going to be, when you turn this in, your teachers will be able to tell when you've done this. So there's no getting around like you've turned it in late and trying to say that you didn't. We can see this, right? So be aware that when you're turning in your work, we can see when you're doing it. Please be on time with your work, right? So like I said, the goal is to get 10 out of 10. And if you want to go beyond that, that's fine. You actually get like bonus points up here in your practice goal that will actually show better scores than 100. You can get better than 100%, believe it or not, right? So that will help you to get better at what you know and be better prepared when we do have tests and quizzes. That's a good thing. You can always go back and redo. And as you're looking here, it's going to show you how well you did on a breakdown by these questions, how many were easy, medium, and hard, and how you did on those. So to open this, all you're going to do is click on the Keep Practicing, and it's going to walk you through really quick. To get 10 by 10 right, continue practicing. Again, this is the little dashboard that shows you how many questions you answered, how many were easy, how many medium, how many hard. So it's just showing you an example. Help when you need it. Now, this is what I mentioned before about some examples for some assistance. So now we're going to scroll up where it says Start Practicing. We push on that button, and right away, we've got our start to this. So I have no questions answered correctly at the moment. I haven't even tried. So I have a 0 out of 10. I don't have any data to give them because I've tried nothing. So the skill level is to be determined. So we're working on that. But we do have these. So here's information, and that's going to help me. It says from the graph, what is the temperature at 11 minutes? So you've got to look at this graph, figure out where is the time, figure out what temperature it is at that time, and based on that data, select an answer. So you'll just click on it, and then this will be available for you to submit your answer. Now, if you're still not sure, you can click on this little guy over here and ask for a hint. Now, like I said, usually you can get up to 2 hints. If you're still not quite sure, it will allow you to go back and get some help in the text. If there's something that involves a calculation and you want to type it out or handwrite, do a little drawing for it, this opens a scratch pad, which you can work on down here, kind of like scratch paper. If it has on rare occasions occurred, if you are really, really pretty sure that their correct answer in their answer key is wrong, they actually firmly believe in giving students the opportunity to report that they need to improve the question, and that's what this button is for here. All right, doesn't mean that always, double check yourself if you really think that that's what's happening, but you can still do it, which I think is pretty cool. All right, when you are all set, you'll just keep going. Eventually your numbers are going to fill in. So like I said, you're shooting for 10 out of 10. This will keep ticking up as you go. When you are ready to finish, you can click stop for now, or you can go with the back arrow. All right. So that's your assignment. But when you are done, remember, there is no work attached here to show us that you're done. You've actually got to click mark is done. All right. Now, clicking on this with no work in CK12 will still get you bounced back and or a 0. So don't do that. Do the work in CK12. Otherwise, we're looking forward to seeing how well you guys do. And don't forget, there will be homework. Thanks.